So we all know the standard American greeting. Hey, how are you? Fine. How are you? My husband started taking a new tact. So he'll come to me and he'll say, hey, how are you? And I'll say, fine. How are you? And he says, well, got a little bit of a headache, kind of crick in the neck, feeling really accomplished. And he gives me the truth about how he's feeling and how he's doing. And then he'll re-ask me, so this is how I'm doing and I feel really accomplished. Now, how are you really? And this is really a little uncomfortable for me. And yet I absolutely love it. So this new tact makes me pause. It makes me ask myself, how am I really? Where am I really at? And it also reminds me that my husband really, truly cares about me and where I'm at, how I'm feeling, what I'm doing. So instead of being annoyed, I sit with that vulnerability and emotions for a moment before I respond with, how am I really? It lets me check in with myself and know, how am I really? Oftentimes we hear about childhoods where people grew up and they have been in houses where emotions have been a little unwelcome. So they've been told that they're supposed to hide their joy or don't be so depressed and down. And when a kid cries, the parent gets uncomfortable because they just want to fix it and make things better. And when the kid's excited, then the kids are kind of bouncing around the house and their parents think they're obnoxious, but really the kid has no idea how to really express their feelings and what is going on in there. They don't have the words and the maturity to be able to bring it out and bring it forward. So we've had this weird thing of, how do you actually check in with your emotions? And how do you teach that pause of, where are we and how do we feel and what's going on and how do we connect with each other on that slightly deeper level of truth and reality instead of that surfacey connection and relationship? I was talking with a friend and I said, hey, how are you? And she says, well, I checked with this person and I did this, and I checked with that person and I did that. And while I made progress here, I'm still feeling a little behind the eight ball here, and I'm just feeling swamped. And I'm glad that I moved all this stuff forward. And I said, okay, well, thanks for letting me know how everything else is doing. And I really want to know, how are you doing on all of that? And it took her aback, and she was like, how am I doing? Which is exactly what it does with me when Jay asks me and he says, how are you doing? So she took a moment, and then we had this real connection, and it was, hey, how are you doing? And in her letting me know how she was doing, then I was able to add comfort or insight or strength so that she knew that she was not alone in just feeling overwhelmed or frustrated or this or that. Oftentimes it may seem easier to just say, I'm fine, don't worry about it, than it is to open up and express what's really going on. Perhaps our emotions are just super deep and we don't think that somebody else is going to understand or connect with how we're feeling. In the same aspect, sometimes it's just too vulnerable to jump in and say, where am I really? And I'm not sure I want to share that information with you. It can also simply be the fact that we grew up learning that we need to hide those feelings and not necessarily share them. It is a vulnerability. It is this fear that you might be judged for what it is that you're thinking or what it is that you're feeling. The fact of the matter is that there are several people around you that probably feel the same way. There are people around you who are probably experiencing the same emotions, the same frustrations, and might be able to lend you just even a listening ear or support in a myriad of other ways. Just opening up lets you know that you're not alone, and it can free your heart space. It can free your inner self from being so trapped and hidden away. So opening up allows us to feel better. Connecting with people allows us to feel better, and it allows us to come out of that closet of hiding and shutting down. That in and of itself is freeing. That in and of itself is opening, and it says, hey, it's okay for me to not be okay right now. Things may suck, and I'm not okay with that, and I am not okay with how things are going, and that's perfectly fine. It's okay for me to be frustrated. It's okay for me to be sad or overwhelmed or depressed. It's okay. Speak up. And in that way, your needs can be met and you can be supported and loved and cradled in an understanding and peace, knowing that there are people around you that care just as much as you do. Right now, our need to connect is paramount. The compassion and the knowledge that we are not alone in our anger and our fear and our upset and our joy. This connection helps us to bridge the gap from solitary to more community. We are constantly hearing this cry of social distance, and for good cause. We really need to care about each other and each other's health, and we need to help support each other in that. And I say we find ways to connect in spite of that. Yes, we need to socially distance, and yet we can still reach out. We can give a phone call to a friend. We can send a text message. We can write an old-fashioned snail mail letter. We can connect by FaceTime or video on our phones so that we can just reach out and connect with each other to let each other know that while, yes, we need to be socially distanced in the same aspect, we can still be socially together in the fact that we care about each other and we truly want to connect. When you call that friend on the phone and you said, "How are you?" and your friend says, "I'm fine," ask again, "How are you really? What's really going on?" Let's get a deeper connection and a deeper understanding and a deeper love for each other on that very compassionate level of, how are you really? Let's take away the fear and the isolation part of it, and let's connect on the fact that we all have emotions, we all have feelings, we all have strengths, we all have weaknesses, and we are all going through a lot right now. And knowing that other people are experiencing the same thing, or knowing that other people are just as frustrated and sad about it, means that you are not alone. That there is strength in numbers. There's strength in knowing that other people are going through it too. So I pray for heartfelt interactions. I pray for genuine connectedness and moments to love ourselves and really check in with where we're truly at. I pray we can all come together to support and love each other in these moments at this time, in this day and age on Mother Earth as a human race.